Hey, gang. Thank you for showing up Saturday morning, 9 a.m. I'm going to have to occasionally do this. Yoshi, get out of there. We're cleaning up today for my parents' birthday celebration. My dad's really, but my mom's we pushed forward. So the dog gates have been removed, and now Yoshi is exploring and trying to steal everything there is. Um, so yeah, thanks for showing up. Be a kind of short one today, like an hour or so. Hey, Braxel, Ben, what's up, boys? Dave, how's it going, man? Roderick, Yargi, cool. I want to show you a cool piece of gear. Hi, buddy. Hi. This, where's it? It's shitty camera today. Sorry. From Master Effects. It's a really cool boost pedal. Um, the Furman PQ3 that was in the racks of like I think Jakey Lee, Warren DeMartini, Doug Aldrich. A lot of guys used it. Oh, well, Michael Wagner, the producer, he used it on everything in that run with Skid Row, White Lion, and Extreme. He used it as his booster. So he would go into it, use it as his clean boost pedal, and then he'd EQ like a little bit. And so it's a killer booster. It's a little noisy of a thing in general, but it has a really cool sound. So Master Effects totally reverse engineered it, and they had put out it's a 3-band EQ. So they had put out a 3-banger of it with a lot of knobs and stuff. And the funny thing about that EQ, I have one. I've done some videos with it. Um, I didn't really think it needs to have 3 bands. Although, like Dimebag Darrell used it forever. I think he may have even used a 4, and someone asked him one time on a video I saw, and he goes, "Yeah, you know, I tweak the bottom, tweak the mids, and tweak the highs." It's like, well, what does that mean? Um, who knows? But with an EQ, if you boost the bottom and then you boost the mids and you boost the highs, you're back where you started. Essentially, you just kind of like did a weird this across the board, um, which happened all the time. Especially when you're inexperienced, you're like, oh yeah, getting more mids, that sounded good. Oh, more highs, yeah. Oh, now it sounded good. Yeah, and then more bass, that sounds really good. Uh, and then you're like, oh, I'm back where I started. Anyway, back to this. So this is a 1-banger EQ for this. So um, it has frequency. So weird being backwards. Frequency. Focus is the Q, which Q is on an EQ. So if you're going to boost something, right? A higher Q makes it really narrow, and a wider one makes it really broad. So you've got a focus is the Q, frequency is the frequency, boost is how much of that frequency you're putting up, and then level, which is the overall level. So you can set the boost to kind of like nothing, and then use it as a clean boost, but it sounds really good. It sounds incredible for clean guitars because it just like, sometimes clean guitars could kind of sit and lay like flaccid, sort of. And this just like hefts them without doing compression and stuff like that. But for everything, it's really cool. So I'm going to do a video of this. I have a video that I'm going to do. I really want to do like a Warren DeMartini sound one. I haven't done that, and I really love. It's just gear morning, so I have this my new Friedman, which I totally love, and it has a quick. I wouldn't say lean because I was listening back to something I did yesterday, and I was like, I was walking and I had it on headphones, and I was just making sure I didn't edit something wrong. And I was like, oh, is that the Les Paul? And then I went back, I'm like, oh no, it's that my new Friedman. Oh, how cool. So but it can do that Warren DeMartini thing. So I want to get the. I have an amp switcher now, so I want to have the SLO and my Marshall, and use this Master Effects, basically the PEQ, and get a Warren DeMartini tone. I think that would be a fun video to do. And I just love Warren DeMartini's playing and stuff. It's so hard for me. I've gotten better at it. Let's see. When I started my channel, I used really heavy picks, and I picked really heavy, which was kind of like I guess coming from, I don't know where it came from. Maybe like the Zach school of just like slamming the crap out of the strings. And little by little, I've ended up with way lighter picks and thinner strings. And I actually like the tone more. It's so much easier on my hands too, you know. Um, but Warren seems to play with a really light attack really fast. So it's hard to do that with a heavy hand and a heavy pick. But now that I'm more in this other world, I think I could do it. I think I can do it. We'll see. But that's what I'm doing this holiday. That's my holiday is Warren DeMartini uh tone. Jeff McErleen, what's up? Apo, Angus, Ray, hey man. Thank you. Well, thank you. And I was happy to answer the question for sure. Oh, nice. Yeah, that is a good pedal. I think it's a smart pedal. If they can make it a mini, now we're like really talking. I know it's complicated because you have to have pitch shifting and like pitch shifting is, I think, a more heavy DSP usage effect. Um, so I don't know how that works, but I could talk to some people. I know people that make pedals. A mini harmonizer pedal would be freaking awesome. I just don't need a harmonizer pedal to be this big. So I have I think this is one. All right, so this is the benefit of having like cool friends, right? So I'm hanging out, chatting with Dave and Pete Thorne, and we're talking tones and pedals and stuff, and so, talking about my pedal woes, right? And Dave turns around, digs into a box, just a box that happened to be there, and he's like, "Take this, try this." I was like, "Oh, so this is my like life changing." Like, of course, it's a Boss pedal. Also, like, it's been there the whole time. It's been sitting there, like, duh, Boss pedal. But we invented pedal, um, as you know it. And then I was talking about something else, and Pete's like, "Oh, hang on, I got something too." He's like, "Take this, try this." Right? And then one of them, and I can't remember which one, also handed me this, the Eventide micro pitch pedal, which sounds really great. And it does all this stuff, but man, okay, here's this. If there's gonna be a rant today, this is my rant. And I think Eventide hates me because they never ask me to do anything, and I talk about them all the time in the best light, I think. Maybe not. Sometimes I don't. I think they make some weird choices. Like, I get it. You have micro pitch, but micro pitch can really be almost three patches. Micro pitch, big, small, vintage, or I mean, they're all vintage now, but you know. So, but this has all this stuff, and they're like, I know there was a meeting. They're like, what else can we do so we could sell a big pedal? And they did all this kind of weird stuff, which is great. You know, you gotta move forward and progress. Um, but you know, in the world of micro pitch, it's 80% useless stuff, and then 20% the sound you want, the awesome, and it does it so well. So oh, look at that, they have line level on the back and a mono slash stereo switch. So again, now that's really smart. That's what you want. So back to the Lux pedal, they just distilled it down. They're like, we know what you want. but it only goes one direction. So, ideally, you want one up and one down, and you're in the center. And now you got this huge sound. The Lux just gives you one side up or down. It's hard to tell the difference, especially if you're playing live. I mean, it is what it is. That's what it sounds like. Um, and I think they could have added a little bit of like a saturation or softening of the tone as a control. Like you want it hi-fi and kind of metallic-y because that's what happens when you do a cheap pitch shifting. Still cool sound, but if you soften it, it really helps to kind of give it that character, that a little more squishy vibe. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Dave was talking. I don't know if you're talking to me, but yes, in so many ways, all the ways. It's like, yeah, because once you hear something, you can't unhear it. That's the real problem. Oh, okay, the micro pitch shift, that's Pete. I gotta remember who to give this stuff back to. Um, yeah, once you hear something that's great, it's so hard to go back. You can't just go like, "Yeah, that this other thing that was categorized in my brain as good, that's, uh that's good enough now, because it's not." Once you hear it, you're doomed, which is here's my proof, is YouTube and, like, how the guitar gear boom went and pedal boom went. 'Cause someone people heard stuff and they're like, "Oh, well, there you go. Now I gotta go buy that pedal." Happens all the time. It's crazy. I should make a video about George Lynch or ULAC. ULAC. Under Lock and Key. Nice. Was a Lee Jackson Marshall, AOR Laney's, or Rockman X100 mixed together in a 4-track. Yeah, George Lynch was one of those guys that planted the seed of like, "Oh, you know what you need to be an awesome guitar player is a ton of gear, and it needs to change all the time." Hey, Michael Horwitz. Thank you, man. Which Bogner amps do I currently own? Thank you. I currently own a Bogner, it's the big Bogner blue pedal, which I think is really good, and that's killer. Kind of, it does Bognerify anything you put it into. So, like, if you like the Bogner blue channel, which is a pretty popular sentiment, I think, in terms of the ecstasy tone, that is it's a great way to get it. And then I own the 50-watt Ecstasy. I forget what number it is. 53 something something. So the 50-watt that Reinhold modified, which I thought was great. And then I was like, but I keep finding this. And he goes, "Oh, okay, well, let me add this." And he added like these 3 different switchable modes and stuff. So there's a mode on there that is kind of the bigger and more open, which sounds really great. Um, But, yeah, and then there's another one coming that I cannot speak of, which I love. Also, it's very Bognery. I don't think Bogner I mentioned it to him once, or we were talking, and he said something along the lines of like, um, you know, Bogner, there is a characteristic that often is described as like a woody tone, which is like if I was to categorize Friedman, I wouldn't say necessarily that it's a woody tone, except for maybe the Dirty Shirley. It's more like brown sound, which I think is evident in like the BE 100s and the variants on that and stuff. And that's sort of the core of if I had to distill it down and go like, what is the Friedman sound? Like, oh, okay, well, it's like brown sound in different iterations, or it's cranked. It's really like a cranked Marshall of certain eras, because Steve Stevens also has, that sound, and they're pretty similar in there. Um, and then Bogner. isn't really a brown sound to me. It's this woody thing, which is a warmer top end and this strong lower mid range. But Reinhold had said, uh, kind of in passing, just like, yeah, people say that, and he's like, I don't know what they're talking about. So it's just how he hears stuff, and I think like with Dave, that's probably just how Dave hears stuff, or wants it to sound, where he's like he sees it and then dialed it into what that is. Morning, Hen. Thanks, Ben. Yes, please, please hit the like button. Uh, I don't know if it's apparent. I'm really putting forth a lot of effort in my YouTube channel. I'm really trying to make it. I feel like I'm here, and I feel like I should be here. There's not like I deserve to be here, but I should be here, or I could get it here, and all these other people are here. But I at least should. I feel like I could get it here. But I appreciate everyone showing up for things like this. And so, if you would be so kind to hit the like button, so then maybe it'll send the algorithm will send out to some other people that will then maybe join in and see it. It is challenging. I was watching someone's video yesterday because I'm always working and I have videos going on in the background. I was watching someone's video and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm full-time guitar influencer." It's like, oh, if I could do it full time, it would be amazing. But I do it part time, so it's real. I'm like just grinding, really to try and get good stuff out. Anyway, that's playing guitar with the best gear in the world. Get to show it to my friends. Wah. How do we get over to that? Yeah, so to clarify, I don't even know if I answered the question. I have the Bogner XC50, and then I have this new one, and I might end up moving the Bogner XC50 forward to someone else because this new one it's 100 watt and it's big. Um, so I don't know if anyone's interested in that Bogner 50 watt. Let me know. It does sound great, and with the mods, it's unique and rad. I would let it go at a good price because I'll just put that money towards a new one. Anyway, moving on. Cole, dude, thank you, man. That is so I trying to stay on target here. A friend of mine told me last week, he's like, you confused me a little bit. I'm like, oh well, I drink a lot of coffee in the morning. So I'm gonna try to stay more on target. Yeah. Good morning. Just bought a 56 reissue Les Paul. 56. Cool. I'm guessing that, well, let me finish reading, and I'm quite smitten. Yeah. It is in candy apple red. Ooh, that's interesting. A reissue in candy apple red. That must not be original color, I would think. And the P90s are amazing. What's your thought on P90s? So that's what I was going to say, is like that must be like P90s, or at least mini hums. Were mini hums before full hums? I think P90s are. I have a love-hate relationship with P90s, to be perfectly honest. Um, so I have my original run Friedman red, sort of that transparent red mahogany vintage T with two P90s on it. Sorry. That I've used in a bunch of videos, and it sounds so good. It is, and it is awesome. And it has non-humbucking P90s, like real P90s. And but they're noisy, which is annoying. So I've tried putting in noiseless ones, and they didn't do it for me. Maybe I just don't have the right ones in there. But So I went back to the originals, and it sounds awesome again. It's like crushing. It's just such a good guitar for heavy stuff. And then I used it all over. There was a Forza Motorsport score that was a NASCAR expansion that needed like this Nashville stuff and sort of big slide stuff. Not clean, but more of like a modern Nashville thing. That I used it all over that, and it was so good. And then I have a Shabbat with a single P90 in the bridge, and that sounds awesome, but it's noisy. So yeah, it's kind of a love hate thing. I know they sound great, but I always feel like I want it to be a humbucker. I don't know. I think it would be amazing in a Les Paul though, because the Les Paul, its bigness and fatness, you're just like double downing on this big fat tone. I bet you that sounds incredible. If you ever get clips, send it to me. I'd love to hear that. I love clips. If anyone ever wants to send clips, it's cool. Don't send 4 hours. I don't have 4 hours to listen to clips, but it's just a clip. It's like great. Oh, sweet, dude. Thank you. Cheers. Coffee talk. I was at the mall several months ago, and there was a not one of the stores. You know how they'll just throw in like a little like portable kiosk kind of thing. Not a kiosk, like a separate little section. Usually it's junk toys or sunglasses or like a massage place or whatever. Anyway, they were selling coffee and a big front sign, free coffee. So I went and got this free coffee. I said, hell yeah, I'll get a free coffee. And they just came out of a little pod. He zipped it open, dumped it in, poured the hot water in, put in some oat milk, and was like, here you go. And it was great. And it's a subscription service that they mail me these coffee pods. It's called Cometeer, Cometeer. And dude, it's been great. So it ends up working out to like $1.50 per pod. So it's like $1.50 a coffee or $2 a coffee, which is way better than going to get an iced coffee, which is like $8 or easily. Then I'm like, oh, I'll have that. I'm like, I just spent $15 on my morning coffee. So it's actually kind of a really good deal. And then I was hoping my wife wouldn't like it, but she loves it. And now I get half as many coffees, so I might have to up my order. So I appreciate that, Sonic Blue. That's my vice is coffee, dude. So good. Right? And I noticed, Ben. I noticed you're rocking it. You're doing a ton on there. You're doing great stuff. Plexico. What is that? How are the coyotes? You have them in Hermosa Beach. Um, we have a lot of coyotes here. So I'm kind of in the hilly side. I don't know if any of you watched in January when my whole city was on fire, but there was this huge hill and then fire was coming up over. So I'm on the other side. Thankfully, I was on the not fire side of the hill that was coming to get entrenched by the fire. Um, but there's a lot of sort of green belts around, even though I'm like right there in the valley, which is no green belts. But a few weeks ago, they're like, "There's a bear in the trees." Where the fuck did a bear come from? And then when I walk the dog, I always see a coyote. And someone had told me they thought they bred with dogs because he's like some of them are bigger than normal coyotes, and they do not care. They do not give a shit. They'll just sit there and watch you. Like it's a little unsettling because Yoshi, hey, stop it. Come here. But yeah, they're around for show. Jose G. Did you get a Friedman, Jose? Dude, if my name was Jose, that's I would ask them to take the Friedman name off and just put Jose right on the front all day. In fact, there's a great guitar builder, Bruce Nelson, that I've always been on the edge. I'm like, I could sneak an I in there and have it just say Nielsen on that stock. Back to I'm easy to please that way. Happy Saturday. Did I miss the live stream where I spoke about the time I was in the studio with George Lynch? This is come here, Mako. Oh, this is Mako. He's old and grouchy, right? He's been around. He ate through our wall. He gets panic attacks when we're not around and stuff. And he ate through the drywall on the way to the garage. Yep. So I had to panel over it. Yeah, now he's gonna start shaking. He's like, "What are you gonna do to me? Why are you holding me like that?" Yeah, probably. That was when I was in the studio with George Lynch. It was for TwoNotes to help them make the TwoNotes pack. I'm going to cough. Feeling much better. Not dead yet. Um, so yeah, that was really cool. That was over at Henson, which was used to be called A&M. Great, great studio. And George was there. He brought I think it was a 50-watt plexi and his tube screamer and a guitar he made. Maybe another one as well, but at least one of the ones he made. And he was super nice, really a gentleman. And I think he was kind of like figuring out the two-note stuff on the spot. Like, all right, well, what is this now? So we captured and played it for him. And he was like, okay, it's cool. It's cool. I don't know if if he's super blown away. I mean, that's the thing with IRs, it's a tool. So, if you're going to play live and you have two cabs behind you, you might not need the IR situation or the Dyne IRs in that case. But I'm guessing at some point you maybe use them for like great way to do it is you go live and then the stuff that you send to the PA, you do that. Anyway, he seemed to think it sounded really good, and we did the captures there, and he played through it, and they did some promo stuff, and he played, and it was like the coolest thing ever to sit there with George Lynch just noodling around and stuff. Yeah, it was awesome. Bit of like an internal freak out, you know. There's George Lynch. He's 2 feet away. Don't freak out. Braxel, I went to the Guitar Sanctuary Thursday for their 15-year anniversary, bought a special anniversary colorway, Andy Timmons Mark III in crimson red and gold. Nice. Oh, Andy was there. That's cool. Yoshi, stop it. Come here. We have a little station for school supplies, and I could hear him just ripping paper. Just like, come here. Don't be a jerk. Oh, good boy. Um, I've had the Mark III. How do you like it, Braxel? I've had the Mark III, and then I had it when it was called the Muse Driver, and both times I ended up selling it. But then I was tempted to get it again because every time I hear Andy play, I'm like, geez, that's pretty great. I love the form factor of those Keeley pedals. I mean, they knocked it out of the park with that. Do I have mine here? I mean, in terms of like a single pedal, absolutely beautiful, so good, and the design I think is amazing. They build it all in house, right there in USA, so that's absolutely awesome. Yeah, cool. I will. I don't have a Boss compressor. I have some others, but it would be cool to compare it to some others as well. The CS2, CS3, CS2. Interestingly, anytime I go back and look at like Keith Scott's, like what did Keith Scott use on the Bryan Adams records and Steve Stevens stuff? There's always a mention of like maybe a Boss CS2, but like as a really light usage and just like a little tone hefter upper. Hello, Michael. Is there a Mesa Boogie Mark series in a box pedal that gets really close to the real thing? Everything I've tried falls short. Yeah, I haven't heard anything that's close either. I think it's because it's not, it's so much back end. It's like how it distorts is such a kind of a different way from like a Marshall. Um, I don't know. The closest is, in preamps, like the Synergy preamp. I know it's not a pedal. Um, I don't even think the Mesa Boogie pedals would get you into that realm. The ones that they put out, they're just drive pedals. Yeah, I'm not sure it's even possible to do that. The graphic EQ, even in a JCM 800, that kind of gets close, but that's a whole different thing that you're asking. That is 19. Let's see if I close my eyes. That is 1971 Marshall Super Lead that Dave went through, um, cleaned up. I don't think it was far off. There was just a little bit of cleanup in there, and it sounds awesome. Really, like game changing for me. Of like, oh, that is great. Took me a while to kind of sort it out, but it's really great. Latency, yeah, that's funny on the pick. But yeah, I think it does have less latency, and that was part of the thing. I always played a heavy pick during when I played in bands in my 20s and stuff. And then like, the singer and stuff, he'd play guitar, and he was like, "How do you play with that heavy pick?" And I always felt like, well, I have so much more control over what I'm doing. But now even, I mean, like Eddie used a fairly not heavy pick. He didn't worry about pick latency. It's you kind of have to just adjust to it. I still do love a jazz three pick though. Anytime I go back to it, I'm like, ooh, yes, that's home. And if I'm struggling, I could just it's home base for me. But more and more, I've been trying the Fender mediums, and even smaller, the Dunlop nylon. There's this gray one. I think it's 6.60, and it's awesome. And then when we were at Sweetwater, I was with Dave hanging out, and he's like, "Try this." Is a Fat Mike Dunlop signature pick that was even thinner. It's like paper. But we plugged in and we tried a bunch of picks in a row, and every time it was like, "Ooh, that one sounds the best." 100%. It wasn't even close. Like the thinner the pick, the better it sounded coming out of the amp because then you like swack on the strings and everything stays in tune and it's just like bop. Yoshi, no, 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 no. Come on, come here, come here. Don't eat the paper. I do still have them more in preamp. I don't think I'll sell it's. I don't know if I'd ever sell it. I don't know. To be honest, in a way, it kind of sounds like the BE 100. They're not that far off from each other. I mean, there's a certain character that the Morin has, but it's not that far off. Maybe that's a AB video I should do at some point. That would be fun and interesting. What else are we doing here? Oh, I'm glad you could pop in. Um, it's kind of one of the only times that I know I could make it, like 90% of the time. Any of the other ones, sometimes I'll be in the middle of a stream and then like my email will ring or text will ring and I'm like, oh crud, I gotta go. Oh, sweet. Yeah, I know, and timing is kind of strange for folks, depending on where you are in the world. I got a good deal on a twin sister last week. Oh, awesome. Can you tell me how the Shirley side of your BE sounds compared to the other side of the JEL? You have a JEL, I love that too. Good pair. How it compares to the other side of the JEL. Yeah, so you know my BE 100, Dave modded so that the clean is not clean, it's a Dirty Shirley. So it's a BE 100 on one side and Dirty Shirley on the other side. Um, it's close to like the Dirty Shirley 40 and the twin sister, but because it has so like a totally different power section, it's not as round and squishy. It's more of like um, it's it's honestly it's a little hard to go back. Like I use the BE channel all the time, but like when if I'm trying to use it live and I'm using the Dirty Shirley side, it's so big. Then when I go to the BE side, there's like such a character change on those two, so it's hard to use in conjunction. But I mean, I didn't get it for live. I got it for the studio, and I was like, I kind of love both. And so in that case, it's great. How do they compare to the other side? Oh, okay. And the JEL. The JEL to me is its own beast, really. It's super fast, super articulate. I mean, it can sound just like a JCM 800, but in general, it's really fast and articulate and clear and punchy. I don't know if I've ever heard an amp that is more of those adjectives put together. That's a killer amp, and kudos to Dave for making an amp that's kind of like has a unique flavor. Eh? Oh, DHS sale. I didn't know they were still making the kilt. I thought that was like something they discontinued a while back. You know, have I tried the Jimmy Page Sun Dragon line of amps? No, I have a feeling I won't get a chance to. You know, they just they'll probably go to who they go to in terms of selling it, and then that's it. Kinda like Supro. I haven't seen any Supros of the new Supros. I know people play them, but I haven't come across it. Yeah, Dweezil's going crazy on his channel, keeping busy. I did a video of his signature Shabbat, and he let me borrow his, and he's like, "If you ever wanna do any YouTube stuff," and I was so swamped with other work at the time, with work. I was like, "Yeah, that'd be killer," but I'm like, "Dweezil Zappa's doing a bunch of YouTube?" His studio is so nice. It's really like a little wonderland playground. Thanks, Jose. I didn't circle back, right? This is same. Okay. And same Jose. I do have a Friedman. Haha. Dirty Shirley 40 head and loves it. Nice. Nice, nice. And I got a Sin 20 IR. Awesome. With the Marshall module on the way. Nice deal in Sweetwater. Yeah, they bundle them, right? The Sin 20 IR with the Marshall module. That is a good pairing. Is a really good pairing. I love the Sin 20 IR. I love the Sin 20 IR like some people love their Axe FX or their Quad Cortex. Um, where they're like, "Yeah, if I just take one little thing, that's what I take." But I use my Sin 20 so much. Whether I'm running like an IRX pedal through it, I'll use it for that. I'll run other preamps through it, pedals into the clean channel. It's just like such a useful amp and sounds awesome. Really satisfying. I need to hear the NUX Edge Delay mini pedal in digital mode in the loop of an amp. Say what? All right. Um, Let me look this up. NUX Edge Delay. Guessing Edge is the Edge. Oh, there's a picture of the Edge on their delay. Oh, wait, hang on. Can I even I gotta see if I can show you this. I don't know how to work any of my computer. Here we go. Okay, here's oh man, that's pretty cool. So if I push this button, nope, nope. Oh, media slot. This is gonna happen. Something's gonna break. Nope, it didn't work. I gotta learn how to use this thing. Gotta call Mark Kazansky. I think he knows it really well. But anyway, I will check that out. Oh, I didn't even look how much it was. I think NUX stuff is pretty reasonable. NUX NDD Edge Delay, $99. 3 unique delays. Well, okay, so this is another option. Like, I did get a Boss DD500, and that thing sounds so good. Sounds really, really good. But that NUX, like, what if I just did 3 different delays? Like, I had just an array of delays. This is my like a charcuterie of delays, and made my pedal board a whole charcuterie plate of choruses and delays. So one song, you're like, yeah, I step on the edge delay. That's what I do. And another song, I step on the Digitech uh, hardwired delay. Really, all of this is look, I'm gonna be honest here. This is what it oh. Nope, I don't know what $100 means. Oh, that's how much it is. This is what I was trying to click on. Which mode? Hang on, I'm going back. Oh, and thanks, Dave. Digital mode. Okay. I'm ordering it today. And now it's gonna be $94. So thank you very much. I appreciate the putting forward to that. Um, yeah. Now I'm sidetracked. I don't even remember what I was gonna say. Oh, all of this, it's all just waiting. I'm just biding my time until January, February, March, theoretically, hopefully. Put together the Dave Friedman preamp, power amp, throw in the Yamaha D1500 delay. I think that would be my delay. There's certain things I still really love on the pedals that are just absolutely killer, um, like the Halo, but, the like a little 1210 would be real nice. So what would I put in my rack? Would it be if I was building a rack, preamp, power amp, that's all a given. And then, I mean, one kinda shortcut is the Eventide Eclipse because I think it's really good. It's just so not programmable, hard to program. So you just set it to your sound, and you're like, "Oh, that's the sound." So and then the dogs are gonna bark. My wife just got home. Hang on a sec. Um, oh, I think Dave went nah on the Eclipse. But it's one if dude, I'm just saying here, this is what it all comes down to. If I'm building a rack, can Fractal please make a 1U just only effects thing? That's what I want. That would be so great. And then I could use a couple other vintage rack gear, but then you're covered. And it would be easy to program. Does anyone make a 1U rack effects processor that you could hook up with an editor online on your computer, drag and drop your effects, boop, 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 boop. I don't know. I gotta call the Hotone guys. Hot Tone guys. Maybe they'll consider making that. That would be dope. Oh, look at this. We're thinking the same. Maybe you get Hotone to do it. Yep. I'm gonna call them. It just does. I don't think it exists. That would be dope. In the meantime, I just continue buying pedals. I gotta get the new X Edge delay. It does crack me up that it's a picture of the Edge, like a little drawing of a dude with a beanie and a goatee. That's pretty dead on. All right, so if it sounds like a rack delay, then you get like three of them? So you're like, this is my New Year's Day. This is uh my sort of more solo delay. Just have a whole array of the Edge and Edge Army. Synergy Rack 50/50. Where do you like your depth and presence at? All right, if Dave is still here, Dave had a trick for that. And it's crazy because I was like, what? Okay, so I feel like the depth and the presence on the Sin 50/50 is a little unusual. And so if you set them at if you give it put them at 11 o'clock, you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. Because like a power station or an old VHT, you could set the depth and presence at 11 or set the depth lower. I mean, in the 80s, everyone had depth and presence at 1 o'clock, and that's a lot of depth. It scoops stuff out. And then I was finding I wasn't getting enough presence on my Sin 50. So then I was turning the presence up a lot. And it's like, okay, but I still didn't love it at that setting. And then Dave, here's what Dave says. Where do I set the presence, Dave? Off. Off. But Dave, the problem is that I'm at 1 o'clock, I'm not getting enough presence. But off, it's like the thing opens up and you do get enough presence. It's really weird, but try that. Set your presence to off. And it's almost like something comes out of the circuit or something and everything goes, oh, okay, well, just here you go. We'll come alive. Yeah, a little pro tip from Dave Friedman that I'll pass along to you. I do have a Red 7 line mixer. There's something wrong with mine though. Unfortunately, there's some bleed that happens. Like I have to track it down. I have an early one that there may have been like a board mistake or something. So like I could bypass something and I still hear in the background a delay ticking away. So something's not quite right on it, you know. Was all mine? Can I connect a tube preamp to the loop of my Kemper? I never thought of doing that, but I think you can. Shoot, I gotta try that. Here, I'm gonna clip that. I don't see why you can't. You just have to make sure you don't clip the level. 'Cause some tube preamps have super hot level. And then you could just run like an IR cab. So I mean, functionally it would work. I don't think it's going to be the greatest sounding thing. Maybe. Yeah, that is a great pedal. It is a great. So I'll probably do like a little YouTube short on this, which is the Boss SDE3 versus the Boss DD500 SDE 3000 mode, which is not as evolved as the Boss SDE 3000 pedal. So there's sort of three tiers of what it is. And theoretically, the Boss SDE3 is just pulled out of the Boss DD words SDE 3000 pedal. So it should have more. But one great nice thing is that you don't really have some extra control of the modulation when you're in the Boss pedal, but they're both Boss pedals. And when you're in the individual SD3, but the 500 has some more control over like the phase and stuff. Which, if you're going heavy modulation, I I was preferring the 500, but if you're in stereo, you're already in great shape on the SD3, and then the tone of that delay already sounds really good. It's super cool. Ah, thank you, Rudy. Cool pick. That is quite cool. Saint Rock guys. Yeah, the Saint Rock effects are actually really good in his modeler. Really good. It was the interface, not the interface even. The layout, let's call it the UX, the user interface, was a little crazy on the Saint Rock. Kind of like maybe some of it might be an English as a second language thing, and then some of it is just like a genius engineer putting it together, maybe, and like it needs to get simplified. I haven't tried it in a while though. It was like another thing on that, like his modeler, which was great and big sounding and huge, but there was no volume control in it, like no knob. Like that makes no sense. Why would you do that or not do that? Watch a video on the KSR Orion that I made and bought one. Very nice. Swapped out the 606 for the KT88. Whoa. I thought that the Orion, which is a sort of lunchbox size amp, it's one of the best heavy rock amps of that ilk of the lunchbox size. It was absolutely great. And I just had a weird experience with them and when I made the video, so I ended up not keeping it because they like ghosted me after I made the video, and I thought I made two because I thought it was really good. And then I was like, hello, hello, and they ghosted me. But congrats, because it's a great amp. Instantly you plug in, you're like, yeah, that sounds good. Love it. It sounds good. Yeah, I think you would like Boss to do a rack unit with all their legacy effects and newer effects. Yeah, given what's going on with their PX one, just like one rack. Can you imagine? They're like, here's the rack unit, one effect at a time, or something like something crazy. When Boss does individual pedals, they're almost they're like Michael Jordan level of what they do. They just are on it. They're Max Verstappen. But when they do multi-effect stuff, it's like there's too many cooks in the kitchen or something over there, and it's like, "What? Why why are you doing it this way?" Alright. S Thanks, Carrie. Either there was a glitch in the matrix or you didn't even write a question, but thank you. Yeah, it's a Punish Dave question. Punish Dave with questions everywhere he goes. Yeah, back to plugging a preamp into the Kemper. You can, but I mean, essentially, it's using an IR. You could get a little Moore, Mooer IR pedal, and do the same thing. And I think that has power amp simulation too, so it actually might be a better solution at like $100. I know you have the Kemper, so I mean that's you know just throwing it out there. Todd from Sweetwater, what's up, dude? Hey, Todd. You got the Mezza Barbara Even Drive. Cool. I'm actually connecting with them next week to try some stuff. That's awesome. Super cool. Hope you're doing well, man. All right, I got to wrap it up fairly soon. I got to clean. I have amps all over the dining room that I have to relocate so that people could sit in our dining room. My wife has been very tolerant of my gear overflow of guitar cases and pedal board cases and boxes and stuff. Bonkers. Cheers from Calgary. Hey, oh, it's Peter Urban. Hey, man. Thank you, dude. Cheers back to Calgary. Jason C. Guitar. Thank you for the super chat. I'm just looking at your avatar there. It seems like it could be several things. Huh. If I could see better, I could figure it out. Even with the glasses. What I need is one of those like super nerdo glasses with 3 tiers. So I go, okay, this is normal, and then I flip down tier 2 so I could really read, and then I flip down tier 3 so I could get in real close. If just if Voss would make that, that would be great. Step on a pedal and it goes. How do I feel about all of these companies like Joyo, Nuix, and the like? Really feel a lot of these companies are stepping up their game when it comes to quality of effects versus their pricing. One moment. I agree. I do agree. Um, Coming from where I come from, era-wise, there was a distinct line in the sand of these guys do good stuff and these guys do garbage, right? So let's just jump into like the time machine. You go back and you go, oh, it's great, it's garbage. And I think some of that is warranted, but some of it was perfectly fine. Ooh, my screen changer saved. Always looks all groovy. Um, so yeah, like Crate was garbage. PV straddled the line of like really good stuff and garbage, depending on what it is you're buying. Um, If it was Marshall or Boss, you go, okay, well, that's good stuff. And if you go like, uh, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of something that was definitively garbage back then. I think Digitech had a reputation of being sort of garbage, and then when you go back, it's totally unwarranted. There's no reason. Their stuff was pretty good across the board, even their cheapo stuff. When Zoom came out, I mean, that was pretty garbage sounding, but then they really, like, kept developing, they're smart. So, I have in my head a very strong idea of like, "Oh, okay, there is good companies and bad companies," but especially in the last while, um, they there's a lot of sort of merging, 500 guitar is pretty good these days, or it should be because people have shown that they're pretty good. Is it as good as my Friedmans or Shabats or a Gibson and stuff? You Not really unless you really luck out, but, um, yeah, I mean, the technology, these companies that are, I think, NUX and Joyo and Hotone and stuff, they're all where the manufacturing of high tech stuff goes. So I think they're probably also all, like David mentioned, like thinks Hotone does OEM builds for other companies and stuff. So there's no reason that they can't crush it. They're just hitting this price point that's really hard to compare to or hard to compete with as like an American company. So I think, when I look at Joyo and NUX, my first initial response is kind of like, ugh, I don't want it. And I admit, like, I'm pretty brand aware. Like, even if something is great, there's the part of me that goes like, all right, that sounds great. Now let's look at, let's take a decision on how it looks. And am I that person? Am I a boss pedal? Or am I an Eventide? Am I an H3000 guy? Okay, we'll just stick in that. Am I a guy that puts a Eventide Eclipse in his rack, or am I a guy that puts an H3000 in his rack? Like, those stupid questions are go through my head, right? Not as so clearly articulated in idiot language, but um, they do. It's the same reason I have too many guitars at the moment, which is not an enormous amount compared to some people I talk to. But it's because if you're gonna play, uh, like if you're gonna play "Sweet Child of Mine," you need to play it on a Les Paul, right? And if you're gonna play Stevie Ray Vaughan, you need to play it on a Strat. That you can't cross those streams. So, am I right about that? No, I'm aware of that. Does my wife understand that is my rationale for buying these things? Uh, she knows that's what I say, and I think she accepts it at this point, but she still thinks I'm an idiot, I think. I would guess. Lovable idiot. Name of my new band. But I am gonna get that Joyo pedal or the new X pedal. So I'll let you guys know. You'll see it. That would be epic. Someone's got to do a single line of rack, man. Yeah. And the fractal thing would be an Axe FX 3. It's just 3 rack spaces. It's like, and I know it's awesome for that because you could run an entire band through it of ins and outs and keyboards running through it, bass player running through it. So you need all that I/O, but just for us little poor little guitar players, like one you, man. What's up, Lawrence? I got to turn back on the thing, right? You have a stock plexi and want to get a John Sykes tone out of it. So if you have a stock plexi and a John Sykes tone, I would say that you that's kind of it kind of comes down also to the effects loop because part of the Sykes tone I think is some of the effects is maybe like a little delay in the background on the longer side, maybe some sort of doubler slash micro pitch shift thing that you could kind of stick in front of the amp in the input, maybe. But like reverb, you're out of luck in front. So if you're just going dry, I would think about having a little bit of micro pitch because that sort of showed up a lot in the classic Sykes era stuff. But I'm sure you're thinking about the drive stuff too. Um, you know, you could kind of get in that zone with like a Friedman BE deluxe pedal. The deluxe has a mid range, which I think is really great. Um, uh, or the Lawrence 87 LPD 87. Those will kind of get you both in that really high gained up thing where you can control the mids enough to have it smooth and sort of scooped out. That's kind of the two I would look at for your um, high gain stuff. Might want to have a little boss EQ or something too. I mean, if you could get the Mesa Boogie EQ, that would be great. Um, but yeah, if a stock plexi, it's a little tricky. You just need a lot more gain and some control, so you don't have a super crispy top high end because it's got to be a little warmer than that, and to control the mid range. Simon will say, "Love your playing and all the great intro songs in the videos. Keep rocking." Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I know. There is, or there may be a spot open at Dave's shop that would be awesome for my studio, but it's not really close. Take me like 45 minutes to get over there sometimes. It's a lot of driving. I don't know. I do think about it, but it is so nice to roll out of bed and like yesterday I worked till 11 o'clock, 6 a.m. to 11 o'clock between my work and then trying to get a video out. A single rack drawer and put a helix stomp or hotel multi effects. Right. Okay. That's what an intelligent person would totally do. But if I look back and I see a rack drawer like Bummersville, like it's basically like bringing my closet with drawers and some hangers and some shirts. Like there's no lights. I need the lights. I need something that says like Star Wars on it, right? There's a Toto song called Out of Love, and you can watch the video. It's a slow soul blues gospel-y kind of song, slow, right? But it's got like just the coolest Lukather tone on it. Total Strat tone, total rack tone, and it fits. It's huge and it fits. It's like around 1989 on the Past to Present album, and they had a new singer that lasted 10 minutes in the band. But in the video, they're all in the smoky jazz club singing this sort of like bluesy gospel kind of tune, and goes to a solo, and Luke's playing, his robot guitar, I think it is, and he's got his rack behind him, and you could just see the lights like in Knight Rider kit back there. Woo 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 woo. Yep, that's that's what it's about. It's got to have the lights. Tattoo, tattoo. They should have changed the key of that song. That was not the key for Dave to sing that song. I have strong opinions about every song on that album and that album. Sweet. Yeah, I think that JMP module is really killer. Real killer. I think in hindsight, I would have liked one of the channels to be a little less gainy and then the other exactly as it is. I don't even know if that's possible. I always say that, like, "Hey, why don't you just do this?" And as if it's, magically you just click a computer switch. I'm pretty sure that's not how these go. That's not how you make amps and products. Yeah, that's what I do when I use my Marshall. I run it into the power station and use the effects loop, and it's glorious. I had, several people at my last show tell me, like, "That sounded like a record, man." So I was like, "Awesome. I made it." So, of course, I'm not gonna use that setup for the next show. I'll use something completely different. So I go, "Okay, if I got that, how can I do it a different way?" So the next time it's gonna be either the SLO 100, um, or maybe a Bogner Ecstasy, and then the time after that, I'm hoping I'll be in Rackland. Or there's you know what I'm really looking forward to? And we'll kinda wrap it up. I'm really looking forward to the Friedman Phil X small head that'll be coming out, lower water. So like I think it's 20, and I think it's common. When we were at Sweetwater, 100 people asked me about it, so I don't think it's a secret that that's coming out. But that's that's gonna be killer. I am very much looking forward to that. I think that'll be super in my wheelhouse for where I'm at right now, today, in the next 6 months, you know? Stephen Douglas. Thank you, bro. Um, that's one of the I think there's, like, 3 songs I have on Spotify and Apple Music. Thank you. I felt very inspired working on that. It was one of those that it had been bubbling up, and I started writing it, and it was like, it all just kinda came out very naturally, and, I didn't have to, like, grind it out, and I really like that song too. That song is, really it was important for me to do personally just to get it out. So thanks for listening to it. That's very, very kind of you. Oh, yeah, the Korg rack tuner. Dude, it's part of it. You gotta have the Korg rack tuner. Alright, see you, Dave. Thank you, man. Yep. Lights in the rack. How come I don't run a Synergy live rig for my live rig with a Hotone? Um, I can. It's on my list, but it's lower on my list. So it's like I have the Synergy because on the Syn 20, I could switch from a Bogner Ecstasy to a BE 100 to a Plexi to Tone King Imperial to Dr. Z, all those things. But I also have a SLO 100 and a vintage Marshall and stuff. So like there's a pecking order. Like those are the things I'm going to use live first. Certainly, if I played live more often, like if I did 2 shows a month, which I don't, and was carrying all this gear because it takes forever to load in and load out and stuff, but I'm willing to do it because I only play every other month or something. Um, then the Sin 20 would probably be the quick, like there it is, boop, and then probably a pedal. Even if I had an Axis X3, I would just use it for the effects and probably run the Synergy as my front end, or maybe run the a Syn 2. So I have 4 channels on the preamp, and then into the fractal. Hard to go wrong with SL100, provided you bring the brake. The brake. What's the brake? Power brake? Brake. Oh, extra breakers? Like in case you trip a breaker or something, like a fuse? I don't know. What do you mean? Yeah, Kyle has. I think Kyle. I think what he's doing is he put everything off for sale, knowing that he's not going to sell everything. But whether he sells a his third 5150 or angle or whatever he's got in there, kind of doesn't matter to him because he has 50 amps. So he's just like, all right, if I can sell 3 of these, cool. Here's all of my list. Buy something. He had just put out that video, and I had mentioned earlier, like I was watching it was Kyle that I mentioned about being like where he's a full-time guitar YouTube channel. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. How do you do that? But he had some tips. It was like basically you just, instead of paying $15 for coffee, you drink water, and you do that. Eat top ramen so that you just keep your overhead low. But yeah, I think that's part of his thing. It's like, he's got 1 billion amps and he's more coming in and stuff. So he just like, sell some off. I honestly don't think what he's doing is like a fire sale where he's selling everything. It's just like, sell some stuff. Here's all the options. I agree. If Boss just did a 1 rack unit of a GT1000, it would be super great. But even the GT1000 is really weird. So like they make some of the best effects in the most classic effects in the world, right? So Boss, if you think of a compressor, you go see the CS2. If you think of a delay, they have like 5 classic delays that they've made. But in the GT1000, they're just like delay 1, delay 2, like nothing fancy, but don't they know guitar players want the thing, even if it just says it? I know that in a modeler, if it says plexi, I know I'm not playing through a plexi, but it makes me feel better than if it said like who did that for a while. I think it was like Line 6 or someone, just they call it like burn and like cruncher. Like, what is a cruncher? Like, I'm not interested in that stuff. Call it something. Like, tell me what I'm playing through here. I don't know. It's part of like being a superstitious guitar player, like baseball players, super superstitious, and they know it's silly, and it may or may not. Well, there you go. So, and it makes no difference, but it's like it's the approach to the whole thing. Do I have a head first amp rack preamp on order? I don't have one on order, um, but I did offer, like, if you want me to show it, I would love to take a run through and show it on the channel. And Jason was totally up for that, but I think he sold out of his first run anyway. So I mean, he's smart. He's like, I could send one to Michael to show to people, but he wouldn't even have any to sell. So I'm sure when he gets to the point where he doesn't have any more to sell, um, or he's not selling out, then we'll come back around. Oh, power brake, so that you could keep the level down. Yeah, I feel you. And then there's the whole issue of the effects loop. So I would do power station in there. Attenuation. Yeah, gotcha. Jason. Thank you, bro. Oh, is that? It's from Pirates of the Caribbean or Caribbean. Carrots and beans. Or is it a spider? Or it's like a mutant vajayjay. It's an interesting picture. I'm fascinated. I'm a visual person. Is there a market MIDI controlled servo motors that can be mounted on top of the top? No, but not that I know of, but that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh, it's Cthulhu. Okay. I see it now. I see it. Have I given any thought to HX Stomp, or is it about being in the rack? So I used the HX Stomp for my gig because the effects sound really good, and it's easy to program. It's all right there. I could totally use that in a rack, but I don't know. It looks dorky. Pedals in a rack are a bummer. I know you got to do it sometimes, but a rack in a rack is way cooler. I don't know. All right. So okay. Now we're officially wrapping it up. By using any gate pedals or plugins for high gain amps and placement. Yeah, I have an ISP Decimator Mini, small one, and I have the Rev G8 gate that I use. I mostly will end up using the Rev. It's a little aggressive, so I only use it like in a song if I'm going dun 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 to help clean up the middle section, so I don't have to edit it later. And I'm not even bothering with the whole like 4 cable version of it, which works great. But I'm just using it front end in to help clean up the guitar part. Um, yeah, I I can hear every gate has the sound that it imparts. Just it does every single one. Every clean boost, every boost that says it's totally clean, it has a sound. So I try not to use the gate if I don't need to, because sometimes I don't like what it does. It's subtle, but you know. All right, I'm burn through these last ones. Have I tried any jet? Nope, I have not. They reached out, and I just got super busy. The jet, okay, good hot tip there. Tornado, you guys are talking to each other. What's my take on the running a modeler to front of house stereo effects while using another amp on stage? I think that's a dangerous game. If you're only giving them the stereo effects. Oh no, you're saying giving them the whole thing. I still think that's a bit of a dangerous game. Uh, I don't know, because depending on what you're doing, but certain touch things that are coming through in an amp that might not be coming through in another amp, or vice versa. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't do that. Sentry is really good, also. The TC Electronic Sentry, super good noise gate at a really good price because it's Behringer. It's Behringer ding dongs. All right, gang. Thank you, man. Awesome. Yeah, and thank you guys for coming. It's super fun. Um, super fun to do. I appreciate that. If you would take a second, hit the that thumbs up button again, just to help me kind of grow this. It takes about a second and a half to click the like, if you would be so kind. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I'm trying to make some real cool stuff. Really trying to make it cool. Had some really good conversations with some friends that are great at YouTube. And then I spent the rest of the weekend really Like, it broke my brain. I was like, "Wah, what am I doing?" And but then I came back to stronger for it by the end of Sunday last week. I was like, okay, I gotta kind of rethink and revamp some stuff. And so I'm really really giving it a go. If you guys ever have ideas, please throw it out there because you know, I have limited time, but I love a good idea. I'm trying. All right, gang, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone that has showed up each week, which is so kind of you. And thank you to Amanda, um, and Braxel, and Ian, and uh, Lawrence, and Dave, and Ben. I mean, I really appreciate you guys. You're awesome. Yeah, peace. I'll see y'all later.